Hello, welcome to Jennifer's Magical Book Club. Today I am here to continue reading the novel which is called Paperboy. I'm going to continue from page 82. So I'm gonna start. The grown-ups drank wine from fat bottles wrapped in little ropes and talked about business and houses and other stuff that didn't mean anything, and they laughed at what the other one said, even though it wasn't funny. They left me alone eating little sticks of hard bread and drinking lemonade that was sour because all the sugar was caked in the bottom. I knew with my parents talking to their friends, there was a good chance that they would forgot to order for me. I couldn't stop worrying about it as the waiter went around the table in his white coat with a towel on his arm. I decided that since my parents were making me eat with all the grown-ups, I was going to order something I liked no matter what: spaghetti. The S sound would be easy enough for starters, but the P sound that backed it up would give me a problem for sure. Just before the waiter got me, I figured out how I could change spaghetti to it come out of my mouth easier. That was a trick I used sometimes when I only had to say one word and when I could feel the word getting stuck in my throat ahead of time. The word would only have to be changed a little to make it come out, and that was better than tossing a knife or fork in the air to start my word, because somebody could get hurt if I did that. It was my turn. The waiter stood over me with his pencil and pad. What and what for you, young man? Splish spaghetti. The word had seemed okay when I was going over the sound changes in my head, but it sounded first grade stupid when I said it out loud. The waiter smiled like I had told some kind of joke. The woman at the table sitting next to my mother laughed. Her husband had been lighting cigarettes for her all night, like she was too dumb to know how to use a Zippo. She blew smoke out of her mouth. When she blew smoke out of her mouth, she would lift her head and blow it up in the air like she was proud of herself. Your son is such a drawling. The woman put extra W's in the word, like she was trying to make it up to my parents for laughing at me. My face felt hot with everyone staring at me like I was Clara Belle the clown on the stage without a horn to honk. The burning in my face and neck wouldn't go away. The grown-ups finally stopped looking at me and started talking and smoking and drinking their wine like everything would be hunky-dory if they just ignored me. I didn't feel like eating when the waiter put the plate of spaghetti in front of me, but I figured there wasn't anything else to do. My face was still burning, and I was hoping the spaghetti might calm me down. The spaghetti didn't taste good when I put it in my mouth, but I kept eating it just so I would have something to do. I started eating more breadsticks and drinking the sour lemonade to get rid of the bad spaghetti taste. But it just got worse. Spaghetti, wine, cigarette smoke, Zippo fumes, perfume. All the smells in the restaurant started to gloom together inside my nose. I got dizzy like the night on Mr. Sparrow's porch. The spaghetti wasn't going to stay down for much longer, and there wasn't anything I could do to stop it. My eyes felt it coming. My mother looked at me like I should do something quick, but my mouth jerked open before I could grab the red clothes napkin in my lap. Spaghetti and everything else inside me, the whole shooting match, as Red liked to say, was set free with an air that wasn't the least bit gentle. I let go all over the table. My parents and their friends jump up to try to get out of the path of the flying spaghetti. Waiters started running around with towels and mops, and my mother began apologizing to everyone and saying they needed to go get me home because I probably was coming down with something. The something I was coming down with was the same thing I had been coming down with every minute of my talking life. My parents tried to have a conversation with me on the way home, but I didn't have anything to say. They knew when to give up. I sat in the back seat and watched all the people on the streets of downtown Memphis. At the bus stops, at the train station, sitting on porch steps, they were all talking up a storm. I couldn't get at one simple word without running everybody's night out. When we got home, I went upstairs to brush the bad taste of my mouth and get in bed, even though it was only 8 o'clock. It was hard to get the restaurant out of my head, and then I started feeling even worse that I messed up supper for everybody. They hadn't done anything wrong. My parents and their friends should have been able to eat at the restaurant if they wanted to, without getting spaghetti spilled all over them. Even the woman who laughed at me and didn't know how to use a Zippo. I decided the right thing to do was to go downstairs and tell my parents I was sorry. I also needed to see if Ma'am had put anything in the icebox before she left because my stomach was growling and telling me it needed something in it, where the big pile of spaghetti should have been. My mother and father were talking in the breakfast room as I eased down the back stairs. I sat on the landing steps to hear what my mother was saying. His therapist said that stammering is likely genetic, but no one in my family stammers. I think you're genetic. I think you mean genetic. My father was all the time correcting my mother's on her words. She would get close to the right one, but close doesn't cut it when it comes to words. And she always had to say that the way I talked was stammering. Maybe it sounded better to her than stuttering. My father spoke again. I wish he wouldn't pretend that he doesn't have a stutter. He needs to realize it's not something he should be ashamed of. Do you think his therapists know what she's doing? She came highly recommended from the school, didn't she? I didn't want to hear any more talk about me. When I tiptoed back upstairs, I knew I had heard something important, but I couldn't figure out exactly what. I kept going over what my mother said about stammering not running in her family, and that made me wonder if stuttering ran in my father's family, and why he didn't say anything about that. I'm done with this I'm done till page 86 half, so I'm going to continue from the rest. Thank you for enjoying with me again, and see you next time. Bye, have a nice day.